Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, August 28th. On today's show, Jack Hubbard shares how he manages getting around Shell Point while using oxygen concentrators. We'll also talk to Dr. Bruce Becker, world-renowned expert in aquatic therapy and aquatic exercise. But first, a quick announcement about Lilly & Company Jewelers. They normally come to the island once a week to assist with jewelry sales and repair. But they are not able to come today. So save your jewelry questions and bring them next week when they return to the egret room. It'll be Wednesday, September 4th at 4 p.m. That's on the island in the egret room. Now, tomorrow, you have a great event to look forward to. If you enjoy music, and root beer floats, that is, and I think that's probably just about everybody. Resort Services is hosting the Good Times Dixieland Jazz Band, who perform that good, clean, old-fashioned sing-along music. Even better, you can enjoy this turn-of-the-century music with an old-fashioned treat, free root beer floats. It's the perfect summer getaway in the shady courtyard outside the island's administration building. Come to the Good Times Jazz Band with root beer floats, happening tomorrow at 2:15 p.m. in the island courtyard. We now have a story featuring Jack Hubbard of Lakewood. If you've ever seen Jack around the community, you know that he carries an oxygen concentrator with him. And he's not alone. Many Shell Point residents need oxygen tanks and other accessories. So how do you manage it? Well, coming up next week, Jack is hosting a support group called Breathe Easy for all residents and their spouses who deal with oxygen machines on a daily basis. The first meeting is next Thursday, September 5th at 2 p.m. in the Woodlands Oak Room. Mary Franklin found out more about it.
I'm here today with resident Jack Hubbard, and we are here to introduce to you a new support group that is getting ready to form. It will be the Breathe Easy Oxygen Support Group. We're going to be meeting in September, on September 5th at 2 p.m. in the Oak Room to discuss the future of this support group. Jack, thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Mary.
Well, I remember one day we were out by the bus stop. You made a few phone calls to me and you said you had an idea for a future support group. Mm-hmm. And that is because you're dealing with having portable oxygen every day. Right. And you're managing really well.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. You're going to all of the programs and events that you want to and so forth. But people come up to you and ask you all sorts of questions. Is that correct?
Correct. I've been on oxygen 10 years, and a lot of people ask me about my portable unit. Mm-hmm. Many have not seen it, mm-hmm. and others have other questions, and one thing leads to another, and I've talked to probably 10 or 12 people here on oxygen, mm-hmm. and to find out there's a need for them to, and me too for that matter, mm-hmm. to have more information. Right. And so consequently, here in the last few months I've been trying to get some more information, mm-hmm. and I've just found a wealth of information, some of which I never heard of or aware of. Right. And I'm amazed how much I was able to accumulate.
And you have some of that information here.
I do have some of it right here.
And that can be a good kickoff and support to this group. Yes. On the progression and educational.
Right.
Because this group really, you want to have an open conversation with each other on how to make things easier.
Yes.
And one of the topics we talked about was how do you exercise when you have COPD? Because it's still very important.
It's very important, yes.
Mm-hmm. How do you eat? There's certain foods that can make it a little bit easier on you. And what to talk to your physician about, medications. There is just a lot of topics to be covered.
And there are a series of them in this pamphlet that I received from the COPD Foundation. Right. I never knew it existed. It's been in operation about 2 years, and they provide a wealth of information.
Right, and you have CDs here and even a magazine. It looks like almost a monthly magazine.
This is a monthly magazine put out by the COPD Foundation, and there's a wealth of information in all of this, and what we want to do is share with each other things that they have learned. Right. I'm not pretending to be an expert in this business. I'm like the rest of them, but by getting together as a group, we can share information and help each other to better cope with their COPD.
Right, and COPD, for those who are not aware, actually includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Right. And COPD is just the the umbrella name.
Yes, it is.
And we actually have had an informational discussion with Yao Adu Sarkoti, our pharmacist here in the Health Connection. It was very well attended, and so I think that there's a lot of people out there wanting to gather information about COPD.
Exactly.
The other interesting statistic that I never knew, but preparing for this meeting, I heard that it's the third leading cause of death in the United States.
It certainly is, yes.
So this is a serious topic. A lot of people have it. But the good news is that COPD is often preventable and treatable.
Right.
So those of you who maybe have had it in your family or worried you're going to get it, come and you can learn prevention. And if you have it, let's learn from each other how to treat it. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I hope to have maybe some speakers out that can be helpful. Some of the pulmonologists, I'm sure would be happy to. I've already asked one. He was agreeable.
Right.
So
it does take a community to make you feel good about yourself, and even just to get in a room together and encourage each other.
Absolutely.
And to live life as the fullest of your capabilities.
That's right.
And you certainly do that. And you haven't let this get you down.
No.
So we all can learn from you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we invite everyone who is concerned about COPD, either of having COPD in the future or have it right now, and would like to learn some more information and help get this support group started. The informational meeting will take place once again on September 5th at 2 p.m. in the Oak Room. Jack and I will both be there to help get this program kicked off. It's an important one, so please support this event. Have a wonderful and happy day.
Earlier this year, we had a unique convergence at Shell Point. We began the LifeQuest Wellness Program, and we also began discussing a new aquatic center, which would bring aquatic exercise and therapy to a much broader population. In the middle of those two campaigns came Dr. Bruce Becker, the son of Earnhardt Becker. Dr. Bruce Becker is a world-renowned expert about physical therapy, specifically taking place in the pool. He spoke in the Health Connection about the amazing advantages that aquatic exercise has over other forms of therapy. For example, did you know that just standing submerged in water helps to exercise your heart and lungs 30% more than on land? And that's even before you start moving. Recently, we sat down with Dr. Becker and asked him to detail the health benefits of getting in the pool.
Hi, I'm Dawn Boren, Director of Resident Life, and it is my pleasure today to have with us Dr. Bruce Becker, whose father lives here at Shell Point, Earnhardt Becker. And Dr. Becker is not new to Shell Point. We have asked him to return to give us some highlights on his specialty. And Dr. Becker, tell us a little bit about your background.
My medical specialty is physical medicine and rehabilitation, and I have been in my specialty for many years, directing rehabilitation hospitals in Eugene, Oregon, in Detroit, Michigan, and directed what is currently the National Aquatics and Sports Medicine Institute at Washington State University, where we've done a lot of research in the health benefits of aquatic activity. So I've been fascinated by aquatics and the potential value in health for many decades, actually.
I think that's what the residents were most impressed with, was your expertise and knowledge, and some of the key points that you shared with the residents the last time you were here on the benefits of water exercise, even comparing it to running or walking versus water exercise. So tell me a little bit about what are the benefits of water exercise compared to land exercise?
Well, the beauty of water is that it is such a gentle environment. It has such forgiving qualities. I started working with Olympic athletes in the water and was astonished at how fast they recovered. And I couldn't figure out why this was being ignored in the contemporary health environment. And so I started researching what was going on, and then transferred that to my clinical population of traditional rehabilitation patients. Spinal cord injuries, stroke, traumatic brain injury, arthritis, low back pain, and again was amazed at how effective it is. The water is a gentle environment. It offloads the body in a very powerful way. And so damaged joints are without pressure, and you can move those joints. I suspect that there are people within the Shell Point environment who might have arthritis. I would think there might be a couple now and then, and the water is such a great environment for that. It's great for folks with low back pain. It's great for folks with all kinds of musculoskeletal problems, and of course with 80% of the national population at some point or other having low back pain, it's a great environment for that.
Dr. Becker, tell us a couple amazing points about water and what it does to the body.
Well, I talked a little bit about the circulation effect, and I think that that's an extremely important one to know. Simply getting into the water and standing in the water at chest depth increases the efficiency of the heart. The heart has two ways to pump more blood. It can increase pulse rate, or it can push more blood per stroke. And it turns out that pushing more blood per stroke is far more efficient from a heart standpoint. Increasing depth of water beyond at the chest level increases the stroke output by about 30%, which is effectively the same increase that you get at the beginning of aerobic exercise. So you're not exercising, you're just standing in water, and your heart is performing like it's being exercised, which stretches the muscles of the heart and makes it more efficient to push blood through the system. Another thing that happens, the pressure of the water on the chest makes the work of breathing harder. It increases the work of breathing by about 60%. So the simple act of being immersed at that is like having your chest muscles push weights. So you're strengthening the muscles of respiration. You're building lung capacity just by being in the water. It's very powerful from that standpoint. So these are all tremendous benefits that the water can do, and it doesn't take much more than getting into the water and moving.
I think in your presentation that was the most astounding information you shared on the internal and external benefits to our body. And I believe the same as you is that we're seeing an increase in water exercise and therapy becoming more and more used, both in the athletic conditioning and also in our population. I know the time that I have been here at Shell Point, we used to have 10 people in the class, and now we're maxing out at 28. People have a growing interest, and not only in rehab, but also in dealing with the chronic illnesses you mentioned. And one thing that I would like you to share with the residents is, what if somebody has a fear of water, or how do people get started? I believe some of our residents maybe haven't been in the water since they were children, or they don't know where to begin.
The beauty of using the pool is that you don't have to get into deep water to do it. Certainly there are things that you can do in deep water that you can't do in shallow water, but you don't have to get into deep water. You have to be able to stand in the water. You don't have to get your face wet. The fear of water is a real issue, and some people are really terrified of it, and that really oftentimes does require working with somebody to help you get through that process. For somebody that doesn't want to get involved in a class or is intimidated by how intense a class might be, getting in, being on your own is great, but like any exercise activity, it's helpful to have an exercise buddy, to have somebody that goes in with you, that will be with you through the process, and especially that's true if somebody has fear of water. In my rehab hospital, we put our post-hip and post-knee replacement patients in the pool on typically day 4 post-op. And we might have one patient that was going to the water, the other patient was on land. The patient that had come back from the pool would be talking with the patient on land and say, I had the best day in therapy today. It was spectacular. It felt so good to get in the pool, and I could move and it didn't hurt. And the patient that was on land said, oh God, it was a terrible day in therapy. It hurt so much. And so the surgeons would come around to do their rounds in the morning, and the surgeons that didn't want their patients in the water would come out and say, Dr. Becker, I want my patient in a different room. I don't want my patient talking to the person that's in the water. And so we had to separate the patients so that they were in different places, because the water patients use less medication, they move faster, they felt better about how they were, and they were more functional when they left the hospital. So there's no question in my mind that the water really works in that kind of a patient population. But it does help to have a personal trainer actually walking you through what you need to do. Talked with therapists across the globe and said, what do you notice when your groups get together? Well, the first thing you notice is they're talking and laughing.
Absolutely.
When you go to a gym class, yoga class, you don't hear that same kind of banter, but you certainly do hear that kind of relaxed, childlike affect in folks in the water. And I think that's directly reflective of what's going on with the brain and that whole relaxation thing. So it's fun.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. It feels good. You get out, you feel refreshed in a way that dry land exercise does not seem to do in the same way.
I feel that this is perfect timing, and we have been so thrilled to have you as part of this opportunity to send the message on how beneficial water exercise and therapy is to each and every one of our residents, and at any age.
Right.
At any age. And so I just want to thank you so very much for your time.
Don't you want to just jump in the pool right now? Well, you can. While our aquatic center is under construction, you still have many options to choose from. The Woodlands pool is great for swimming laps or doing deep water exercises like treading water. The Eagles Preserve pool is open to all, and it also features a hot tub. And on the island, the Health Club pool is the perfect place to do shallow water exercises or just float off into the sunset. And what if you need one-on-one attention? We're proud to announce that we've expanded our personal training to include one-on-one training in the water. Craig Norling is one of our newest fitness trainers, and he can offer personalized exercise programs, whether on land or in the water. To learn more about all of these fitness options, call our fitness supervisor, Michelle Smith, at 454-2107, or visit www.shellpoint.net and click on Exercise and Fitness. Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings from Resort Services, followed by your menu choices and Village Church Connections.
Welcome to the Happening segment of ShellPoint TV. Today is Wednesday, August 28th, and I'm Suzanne Zavada, here to go over all the events happening at ShellPoint today. We'll start off at 9 o'clock with Jurassic Travel in the Egret Room on the island. Also at 9 o'clock, we have the Round Robin Men's Doubles Tennis Group down at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. 9 o'clock is also the time for the Watercolor Group with Phil Hilton to be in the art studio on the island. Then from 9:15 to 2 o'clock, we have the Scrapbooking and Card Making Group in the Tarpon Room on the island. This is a new group, and if you're interested in it, make sure to join them. At 10 o'clock, the Ladies Bible Study Group will be in the Osprey Room on the island. At 10:15, the Model Yacht Sailing Club will be out at the Commons Lake at the Woodlands. And at 11:30, we have a Health Connections, Specifics, and Strength Training in the Health Club on the island, and this is full. We'll move on to the afternoon and start off at 1 o'clock with chess in the Library Lounge on the island. At 1:45, we have another Health Connections, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1 in the Health Club on the island, and this is closed. At 3 o'clock, we have a Bible study group meeting in the community room of King's Crown on the island. Also at 3, we have the Health Connections Pilates Stretch in the Health Club on the island. And our last 3 o'clock activity is the Memory Care Group meeting on the 3rd floor craft room of King's Crown on the island. Sign up is required. At 4:30, we have Indoor Bocce in the Health Club on the island. And at 5:45, we have the church choir rehearsal in the choir room of the village church. Our last activity for the day is prayer and praise at 7:15 in the village church on the island. That's all we have for Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is grilled pork chops with potato pancakes and buttered peas. The dinner special is the pasta buffet for $8.95, and the soup of the day is pasta fagioli. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Wednesday, enjoy a turkey cob salad wrap with fries for $6.95. The dinner special is grilled shrimp for $7.95. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Wednesday are ribeye for $18.95 or poached sole for $15.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, I'm Randy Woods, and it's my privilege to serve as the Minister of Worship and Music at the Village Church. As we gather together each week for the services at the church, it's my desire that each and every one would have a meaningful worship experience at the Village Church. Recently, as I was reading an article by Pastor Rich Brown of Arlington Memorial Church in Virginia, I was reminded that there will never be a final word in worship methodology. Rather, our worship and its forms will be based on what we have come to know and what we continue to learn about God and about ourselves. The Bible clearly teaches us that worship is the response of humankind to God for who God is. God has chosen to reveal to humankind the truths about himself that make a relationship between God and humankind possible. Worship occurs within the context of that relationship, and because neither God nor the worshipers are static persons, static worship soon makes a mockery of that relationship. Both in one's personal life and in the life of the local church, there's a quest for meaningful worship. Worship that can express the meaning of the relationship between God and humankind. This quest for worship is a continuing process. Here at the Village Church, we take that quest seriously through the songs we sing, the prayers we pray, and the proclamation of God's Word. Our purpose is to express our praise to God and hear God's Word of love and instruction to us. When we gather again this week, whether it's on Sunday morning, Sunday evening, or Wednesday night, I invite you to join us as we unite our hearts and voices in worship. Let's give God the glory He deserves and allow Him to speak the truth of His Word to us. Let's thank Him for all that He has provided in the yesterdays of our lives and trust Him to meet our every need for today and the tomorrows He will give us. The psalmist encourages us to enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to God and praise His name, for the Lord is good and His love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Come and join us at the Village Church as we grow in the grace and knowledge of the Lord. Our quest for worship will be nurtured as we strengthen our relationship with God.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as our technical support staff give us an update on the digital, television, and internet services. We'll also meet Charlie Forbes, a security officer who commutes to Shell Point in his favorite type of vehicle, a 1972 Volkswagen Beetle convertible. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, August 28th. I'm Dan Philgreen, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.